Hello and welcome to the Lost Art Podcast. I'm Paul and I am here with Gar.
I think that's me. I still think that's me.
You're
I think
here,
so.
aren't you?
I am here. I think so.
Today.
I think so.
Good, yeah. Today we have a little episode for you which is a strange one. Basically, we all know albums that are almost perfect. So this episode is entitled Rough in the Gem as opposed to Gem in the Rough or Diamond in the Rough. Very clever. Very clever. But there is some albums that are almost perfect to us where there's a skipper. Now, the way I've approached it, me and Gareth often approach things differently, and I think I like that because there's different ways to do things. I've picked ones where the song may or may not be an absolute disaster, but it's a skipper for me. I just find it either breaks the momentum of the album or it just doesn't fit.
Yeah, 100%. That's the way I went at it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I can certainly say none of the songs I've picked are good. I wouldn't have picked a good. I'd let off some albums if there's some albums that have a song that just doesn't fit on it. It's good. So you wouldn't skip it. So these are just ones that taint the overall feel of an otherwise perfect album. So,
I'm the same. The song, I don't think anything that I picked is shy. It's just it's not up to the same standard as the rest of the songs on the album. It's like I said, it's a skipper. It's a skipper.
In the grand scheme of things, some of mine aren't really that bad. I just think, as a frame of reference and put next to the rest of them, as you were saying, they really make them look fucking bad. It looks like a bit of a chink in the armor, or else just a crack. It just looks fucking out of place. There was one that I wanted desperately to put on it, but here's a funny story. There's an Irish band called The Prayer Bow who had an album, Pollution, out in '99, and I bought it, and I was like, fucking hell, this is not my type of music, like singer-songwriter. Now it's a band, but it's still a singer-songwriter with a band behind them. And the album is so fucking good, but there was one song on it called Slow Down, which sounded like Simply Red. And it's so shit. And it was number 4 on the album, and it broke the absolute darkness. And it was a big happy pop song. And I wanted to put it on it, and I realized they actually took that song off. They made it perfect. They did what I wanted them to do. I would always skip that one. Every release after 99,
it was gone.
That song taken off it. Ooh. And I wish I still had a copy of the original one, actually, because I have a 2001 copy where even the album cover they made that darker to fit with the theme of the album. It's really dark album, but this song was gammy. I wanted to put that on it, but it's not on Spotify because they just erased that from history. The other one I was playing with was Fundamentally Loathsome off Mechanical Animals. That album is fucking almost perfect. But then again, I listened to it again today. I was like, I wouldn't even skip it. I wouldn't skip it. At the end of the album, it's coming to a close anyway, and it finishes with 2 outrageous songs, Last Day on Earth and Coma White. I'm not sure if Coma White is on all the releases, but it finishes on my CD anyway with the 2 of them. And before that, the Fundamentally Loathsome. So I've picked 6 that I couldn't care less.
I could definitely, pretty much everything I picked here, if it didn't exist, it wouldn't bother me. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way I look at it. There's 1 or 2 there that I'm like if it's on, it's fine. But in the context of the album, I think it just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work.
So tell me what your first Rough in the Gem.
My first one that I picked was The Smiths, and I picked the song Miserable Lie off their debut album, The Smiths. It's just doesn't.
It's a bit of a weak song, is it? Actually, yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
I don't know if I skip it, but I know that it could be done without.
It just doesn't okay. So it's 1984 self-titled debut album. Rough Trade put it out. We covered a history on Indie Retrospective a while ago, so you want the whole fucking background to the Smiths, go and do it. And we did mention that the album was recorded twice. It was recorded once and handed to Rough Trade, and apparently what they had done is they were put into this basement in a recording studio, this sweaty, tiny box room to record because they wanted to try and capture the whole kind of theme of how the Smiths sounded. And apparently the heat was so intense that it fucked with the instruments and all. Stuff was going out of tune. So the song would start off in tune perfectly fine, but by the end of it would be all over the place. And the producer was like, "That's great, that's super." And the band were like, "Not really, mate." And when I was handed over to Rough Trade were like, "Absolutely not. We're going back to re-record this." Now, apparently, even when they finished the second version of it, which Rough Trade signed off on, the lads in the band were like, it's still not great. Morrissey in particular was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%. But the album itself stayed in the charts for 33 weeks. Like, it done big fucking business. But like this song, like, there was mention, I was reading something about the band wanted another couple of weeks to work on the album. But apparently they'd gone so far over budget because they had to re-record it. And it had to be, first of all, the first version of the album, they tried to get remixed. They were like, maybe we can salvage it. Maybe we can kind of remix this into something useful. But apparently it was all out of time. It was all out of tune. It was deemed necessary to start again. So by the time they were actually done with their second recording of the album, the label were like, well, that's it. We're fucking done. There's no more time being put into it. We're out. Yeah. So I have a feeling that this might be a casualty. It's just this song starts off so miserable, like, and even miserable, like beyond Smith's miserable.
For the Smiths,
like it's so drony and dire, and like
it's very hard to fit those kind of songs onto albums because you don't want them standing out at the forefront on side A. It's on side A, maybe.
I think it is. I think it's like track 3 or something like that. It's just, I don't know. It starts off so dire, and then it just explodes into this kind of like super fucking, I'm going to say 80s, but it was like, but like it just explodes into this like kind of Smiths thing. You're like, all right, okay, we have a Smith song going on now. All right, we got some Smiths. Because Smiths, to me, were able to kind of balance that kind of like tongue-in-cheek misery, and then they burst into something that makes you want to kind of dance. You know what I mean? That's always the way. Like they have that kind of juxtaposition built into them.
Sarcasm and
but this doesn't like this. Just when this goes into the kind of the pickup bit, you're like, oh, here we go, and then Morrissey just starts singing in this like real shit falsetto.
I never really liked this song. I never really knew whether other Smiths fans liked it or not, but I never really said it.
I don't think I've ever asked any. I'm sure they're like, oh, because Smiths people are Smiths people. Like, never released anything bad. It's just like, considering like Reel Around the Fountain and Pretty Girls Make Graves and Hand in Glove, what difference does it make? All that kind of stuff, all that's on there. Like, Stone Cold.
That's my favourite Smiths songs.
What difference does it make? That's savage, yeah. Like, there's some Stone Cold killers, like Pretty Girls Make Graves, just fucking so good. There's so many good songs on there. And then, like, this, and again, it's not shy. It's just, what the fuck is it? Like, this is a skipper for me. Like, if I'm close enough to the record player or the CD player, or I have the phone in my hand, like, on to the next one, The problem I have a lot of the time, and I'm going to be brutally honest with you, is that if I put an album on and I skip one song, I'll end up skipping a lot of them. So I have to. Once
you get into that mode, I know what you mean. Once you get into that mode, you start getting picky, and that's what happened. That's what happened with the iPod.
Big time. Just the attention span was just dead, and I just want to skip to the ones that I really like. And because of that, like the last kind of 20 years, I've ended up kind of only listening to like a quarter of albums that I know.
That's the great thing about records. You definitely can't be arsed.
Could you be arsed? You might damage it. You know what I mean?
I know there's a few record players that can do that.
Mine can.
They find the groove in the next song.
Yeah, mine has a laser.
Really?
Yeah, my record player, the arm on it is kind of parallel to the front, so it's flat bar. It slides left and right as opposed to twisting on a hinge. And when you put the record on, it scans it, and then it flashes on the front of it. It's old, like it's an 80s record player, but it flashes like 1 through 7. So if you want like track 4, you press the button 4 and it and drops it on track 4. It's dead handy. Only works on black vinyl or really dark vinyl.
Right. Yeah.
But you can manually do it, obviously, yourself. But that's one of the reasons I like my record players. It's super safe. Like me lifting the needle has no, like I press an up button and up it comes, and I press the return button and like the robot brings it back to the resting position. I don't have to touch. Yeah. My finger never ever goes near the needle. Yeah. But yeah, that's my first one, Miserable Eye. It just doesn't work on this album. Again, if I was in a fucking pub and I had a few points to me and I came on, I'd be sitting there probably alongside him. You know what I mean? It'd be fine. But in the context of Smiths, which is like, there's no such thing as a bad Smiths album. They're all fucking amazing.
Some would say it mars the album.
I don't.
In fact, the more I see of it,
Johnny Marr's a bit of a fence-sitting cunt, and anyway, so he probably never had anything bad to say about it. Yeah, it was great. Was it great? Yeah, it was great. Yeah. What was the next one like? Yeah, it was fun. It was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah. What was it like when your car fucking fell off the road? Yeah, it was all right. Yeah. Cunt never has anything bad to say about anybody or anything good. He's just happy to be there. But yeah, that's my first one. Like I said, I'm sure people there's definitely gonna be pure Smiths fans out there who are gonna be like, no, Miserable Lie is fucking amazing. Like, how do you not like that? I just can't listen. In particular, I can't listen to that like out of nowhere. And he does it in a few songs, and it works in some songs. But Jesus Christ, man, it's too much. Along with in particular that fucking at the start.
Yeah.
When it kicks into the Smith's shite, I'm like, yo, here we go with the fucking drums that thumping, and I'm like, here we go, fucking sing it, Maj, you mad bastard, and then fucking all of a sudden. No, see you later.
Yeah, no.
Skip. That's my first one. Who was your first one?
My first one is, I hope people know some of these so they can either agree or disagree. I'd rather...
Well, then go and listen to the album now. We got the Spotify links.
They should listen to the album first. Mine is Porcupine Tree, and the song is Lazarus.
I listened to this earlier.
The song is, track 3 off their 2005 almost masterpiece. No, it is a masterpiece. Deadwing is. I really don't know what Stephen Wilson and the lads were thinking putting this on, especially at track 3. After the first 2 tracks, so you start off with Deadwing, the title track, which is like a really sinister, pulsating, almost electronic-y, but it's not opener. Then it's followed by it's just this riff-driven banger called Shallow that's real catchy, and instantly straight into something that easily could be on a Will Young album. Like, it's just this melancholy pop, and I know that later on the song gets a little bit better with the orchestration and stuff. Or is it orchestration? I think I always skip it. This is why I don't know much about the end of this song, because I don't get there. This is a load of Porcupine Tree fans adore this song, and I know that a lot of my friends are torn on whether Lazarus is good or not. For me, I try so much, but I think when you open an album with the 2 songs, Deadwing and Shallow, like that, and then you go into Lazarus, and then you follow it up with Halo, which is another absolute banger. Halo, for anyone who doesn't know, was one of the songs that came free on the Xbox 360 hard disk. I think it was Shallow or Halo. Pretty sure.
I don't remember.
Halo is another phenomenal song, but then and the rest of the album. So after this, you get 6 more bangers. After Lazarus, you get 6 bangers. But there's something about that song. I swear, it's so. Follow me down to the valley.
I listened to it earlier. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know how I feel about it.
And the end of it gets a little bit better, but I just can't deal with it. I still I have this. I don't have this on vinyl. I think it was. They got re-released a while ago. It's a 2005 album. It's probably released for the first time, and I wasn't paying fucking 40 quid or whatever it was. I have it on CD from the time it came out, and I stuck it on the car again a few months ago, and I still skipped this song.
Yeah,
the good thing about it is when it comes out, it goes into Halo, which is just a big. Halo is just a fucking banger.
Yeah,
big riffs all over it, and it's got catchy bits in it, and it's just. It feels like a proggy song, but I do not. A lot of prog albums have a song like this on it, and a lot of people will say that Epitaph of In the Court of King Crimson that comes in at track either 2 or 3 as well, and instantly gives you a feel of this. But that's a good song.
Yeah.
So this is one. Deadwing 2005 by Porcupine Tree is a banger of an album for me. Save for 1 track, Lazarus.
Yeah.
That's it. Not more I can say about it. I'm not going to get into fucking Porcupine.
This is not going to be the longest podcast ever, which is fine.
No.
They can't all be 2.5 hour epics.
No. Who's your next one?
My next one is proof that nothing in the entire world is perfect, Helmet. Nothing in the entire world is Helmet. And nothing in the entire world is Helmet. I am entirely Helmet. Yeah, you are entirely. Nothing's perfect. Because I had a choice between 2 songs on what is probably both of our favourite albums of all time. And it's Radiohead.
2 choices?
Oh, yeah, I had 2 choices, right?
On the one album?
On the one album.
Does that not defeat the purpose of...
Not really.
picking this album?
Not really.
If there's 2 marks on it, then it's
no,
right.
because
Well, I don't think there's a single bad misstep. So I'm interested to hear.
One I know I'm wrong about. One I know I'm wrong about, so I didn't put it on.
Is it electioneering?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way about electioneering.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound right, but I still love the song.
I love electioneering, right? And
you're right in the
I would never skip it.
Yeah. It sounds like it's from the bands.
Yeah, it just there's something about it where it's slightly out of place. And it could be because it follows the song, well, the piece that I picked, which is Fitter Happier, right? Now,
oh no, we're gonna have to disagree.
Now here's the thing, right? I don't necessarily dislike Fitter Happier, right? I just don't. However, it bothers me that it's on that album. I wish it was like an intro or an outro. It bothers me that it's in the middle.
That it's its own song as well.
Yeah, that it's track. Well, it's just it wouldn't even bother me if like side A track 1 was Fitter Happier, but the fact that it's thrown in the middle there always fucks me up a bit because I'm listening to all these fucking whopper songs and I'm like, oh my god, like this just literally gets better every time I listen to it, and I'm hearing new stuff every single time, and then this fucking comes on. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I've heard it so many fucking times now. I can I start reading it off in my own head. And it bothers me.
I agree in some sense. Once you've heard Fitter Happier, it loses what it was supposed to do. More and more.
Yeah, first time I heard it, I was like, what's going on?
It's like rewatching the Blair Witch Project.
Yes, or something. Exactly. I know what's going to happen. And like I said, I almost picked Electioneering because the second Fitter Happier is over, you hear that.
That's the only part of the album I will like accept might be divisive.
Yes,
and there's no dead like it is subjective whether that part of the album works well, especially those two together. It's
just for me, it's not really in keeping with the album. It throws me off every time. And like I said, I wish it was the fourth to the last track to let me know that like the album's over, or to let me know what the fuck's going to happen, because it's this computer generated voice over a load of samples and weird soundtrack kind of synthy stuff.
I actually love it because of the first time I heard it, I went, holy shit, this album is it's separated. It like everything about Radiohead on that album was letting me know it was different. But when I got to that, I went, holy shit, this is just pure capitalist modern day anxiety put into a fucking
very much so. This is
surreal, creepy, unnerving song.
Was proof that they were allowed to do whatever the fuck they wanted as well, which is wonderful to hear.
It's like a lot of things. It's also like the dream sequence of a video game or a movie. At first, it has its job to do, but it doesn't give you anything more. It doesn't grow on you more. No, in fact, it will lose flavor after a while. Now, I still love it and I still don't skip it at all because I do. The more you listen to the music in the background, it's phenomenal. It's great. The music's great. There's just something about it being so different and so alien, which I assume is its idea. That whenever I never really skip it. I always think about skipping it. It's the only song that I think about skipping. Put it that way. There's an element of novelty to that song. It has more of an effect than it does have musical merit. Yeah, it's just a piece, you know. And the first time you hear it, you see, God, it set part of the standard of the album. But I know what you mean. I still love it, and I don't skip it. Because there's something about it. There's also having to explain it to people. Like if you tell people, like, listen, like who haven't heard that album, go, listen, do yourself a favour. Doesn't matter. All your metal mates have been slagging Radiohead your entire life. Doesn't matter, right? You're nearly 40 now. You have to go and listen to this album. It's time. You know what I mean? It's fucking time to eat something other than fucking chocolate ice cream. So go and listen to the album. And whenever I do this, they come back and go like, what's that Fitter Hap, that robot voice thing? What's that going? And I have to kind of explain it to them. Yeah, but if they don't like that, then if they don't get that. It's not hard to get. Yeah, exactly. I'm not even trying to gatekeep it. It's just, I mean, if you're watching a movie and something surreal and really weird happened, would you go, people go, what was that bit in that film? That made no sense. I'm like, well, made you feel awkward? Yeah. Well, then that's what it was supposed to do. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean, though. When people come back and go, don't get that bit, I'm like, well, you did get it. You just don't realize you got it. Yeah, that even sounds really pretentious. That sounds so pretentious. But what I'm saying is if they come back with a problem with that song, if they just understand what it is, that they were feeling, or I said it made me feel awkward, but it's not just stupid. It's not stupid, but there's no way to come across unpretentious. I have a thing about that song where, like I said, it's the only one that I ever even think about
Like, I don't really need to hear this again. I just want it.
Yeah, I've heard people come to me or talk to me about it and say, that's creepy, I skipped that. Perfect. They've at least put words
that
into
might
what
work.
they felt.
Exactly. That might work.
Perfect.
Anyway, that was my second. It's Fitter Happier by Radiohead. Like I said, I considered electioneering, but I know I was wrong. It just, it's so jarring compared to the rest of the album. But that's
it is actually jarring when that comes out. Yeah,
but I love it. I love it. But it's not. It doesn't ruin the album in any way. Who was your next one?
My next one is sort of a dodgy choice. I don't know. Some people may or may not disagree with this because of why it's on this album. So this is a song called Monolith by Beta Band.
Yeah.
Now, the Beta Band were a Scottish group that did they're kind of a cult band, to be honest with you. They're one of those bands that other bands love, or else if you got it the first time around, it was great. I think personally they're not a hard band to get into at all. They have really easy songs to get into, and it's proven in this movie High Fidelity when they play Droid Around to see if they can sell copies of that album on the spot.
I was going to say, one of the first times I think I'd heard the name, but I never heard the music.
Yeah.
And then I watched High Fidelity, and they were talking about fucking Beta Band, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. And that's what they sound like. All right, yeah. I might have bought a record or two after that.
So the first album that they released is the 3 EPs that they released.
That's right, yeah.
Put together. So the 3 EPs are Champion Versions, the Paddy Sounds, and then Los Amigos del Beta Banditos. So the problem in here lies, weirdly, the 3 EPs thrown onto the same album works. It shouldn't, or it might not. It might sound more, it does sound like a collection, but it also sort of works, except for Monolith. And the reason Monolith doesn't work is because it's a 15.5-minute long bit of experimental samples.
I put it on earlier and I lasted halfway through it before I even realized.
There's actually nothing. There's nothing actually wrong with it. If it was on the background, it doesn't jar, it doesn't annoy you. It has some nice little bits in it. Actually, it has a drawn out sample of Droid Around.
It sounds. Do you know what it sounded like?
Is in it.
It sounded a little bit like some of the kind of later 9 Inch Nails stuff where he was doing that, going for that soundtracky kind of feel to me. Where it's just kind of big loops and it's never driving anywhere. It's just chugging along. It sounds like
you've fallen asleep in a car and you're going in and out of consciousness. You can hear birds, but you can also hear the radio in the background. It's fine, but it's 15 minutes long. And what I wouldn't have put this on this playlist if this had been the last song on one of the EPs, because then it wouldn't have merited me.
Yeah.
Well, all people would have went, well, it's the last song on the EP, but it comes out as the middle song on the album.
There you go.
But the problem is, it's not the last song on the EP. In fact, it comes in at a really fucking annoying time even on the EP. So the EP is almost perfect. That's the Paddy Sounds. That's probably my favourite of all of them because it's solid, but it has the worst song and it has that 15 minutes. It got the third song out of 4. So, although I think it's released initially as a double LP for an EP, so one song per side.
Yeah,
as far as I know,
that's fucked up.
But that gives you the opportunity to skip it. But on CD, let's say you have that on CD, or even on its own as an EP, you can skip that. It's 15 minutes before it goes into. So it starts off with the EP starts off with "Inner Meet Me," which is my favorite Beta Band song by a while. Then the house song, which is a bit more fun. That's 7.5 minutes. Then it goes into Monolith. It's 15 minutes, 48 seconds.
Yeah, it's too much.
And it's not doing anything for me at all.
Yeah.
And then She's the One. The problem really lies, though, when you listen to the whole album through. Every song on it is fucking fantastic. It gets to that. It's now a 15-minute break in the center of an album, which could work. You see, here's the thing, though. It doesn't work on vinyl because I bought the box set of the 3 EPs. Cleverly, now it's back to the 3 EPs because they're put on a separate discs, so it's back to the original format, but it's still called the 3 EPs. I'm not listening to that 15 ever.
Yeah,
it's just
no thanks.
No. So if you take it, some people will disagree or agree with me putting on this. The 3 EPs is now established as an album. It is. It's just the 3 EPs. It's an album. It's like a collection, but it's still an album. So sometimes some bands have the best of the early years as their first album, and it just works somehow. This is it. I have to put the Monolith on because Beta Band fans know what I'm talking about. Some people will listen to the whole thing through ask me absolute bollocks.
Mm.
Who is your next one?
My next one's a big one, and it's Yellow Submarine by the Beatles off Revolver.
Yeah, I don't like that song at all, but I'm trying to think, is there any other stuff off Revolver I don't really like?
Revolver, I think, is up there with OK Computer for me, in terms of like pretty much like top 10 albums probably ever made, you know. I can't get enough of Revolver. It's just so much going on. It's fucking amazing. But it's 1966, the seventh Beatles album. Yellow Submarine was a double A-side single with Eleanor Rigby on the other side. So what the fuck? Which is their first ever song that had no rock instrumentation in it.
This is a Ringo song, is it?
No, it was written by Lennon and McCartney. It was meant to be a children's song. And they just gave it to Ringo. They're like, we don't really want to be seen to be singing this, so you can have it, Ringo.
They put it on Revolver.
So they put it on Revolver, yeah. Like it might have even worked on Sgt. Pepper's, but like not on fucking Revolver.
Or Magical Mystery Tour. Although that's after, wasn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, so you've got Rubber Soul in 65, Revolver in 66, and Sgt. Pepper's in 67. Now the thing about Revolver is Revolver suffers from what you were talking about earlier, with that Irish band that just changed the layout. There was multiple different versions of Revolver depending on what country you're in. So the UK version had 14 tracks, and the US version only had 11, and there were the order was different on them, and it was weird. And the same sessions then, actually, believe it or not, the Smiths was kind of the same. Originally, This Charming Man wasn't on the album, and then it was put onto the album later, so you can kind of tell what version of the album you have if it has This Charming Man on it. So Revolver's kind of the same. There was 3 or 4 songs that were kind of played with, depending on what country you were in. So there's this. Yeah. It was only in 1987 when the kind of the CD version of Revolver was put out that it was decided by the remaining members of the band and by the record label that this is the version of Revolver. This is it. So if you buy a version of Revolver now, you get fucking the one. I think it's got 14 songs. I think it's the UK version.
And that's like Kanye West for revising his album.
Yeah, exactly. So it was the 1987 version that was decided upon as being like, this is Revolver now. Okay, so like worldwide, this is it. And once that came out, all the Beatles historians kind of came out of the woodwork and they were like, okay, well, originally Sgt. Pepper's was the Beatles' top fucking album, and then now that this is the final version, that this Revolver is the best fucking. So it's one of those things where once that version, that 1987 version came out, all the critics kind of revised their lists and said, okay, Revolver is the best Beatles album. Because
it
now
made it the way it should.
Exactly. It's the way it was kind of supposed to be done. But like you've got like Taxman, Eleanor Rigby, She Said, I'm Only Sleeping, and then you've got Yellow Submarine just plonks out of nowhere in the middle of it, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I can't enjoy that song. Like, I know, I get it, and it's an extremely well written song. Yeah. But how is me any different to Barney the Dinosaur song? You know,
exactly. Now, here's the weird thing: is that they were after doing, because the Beatles are making films all the time as well, right? And garbage dirt, and they had. It was around the recording of Revolver that the idea for the movie Yellow Submarine came into the head about doing an animated movie. So I have a feeling that it was going to be another 2 or 3, I think 2 years before that movie was out. I think it was like 1967, 68, something like that, before that movie came out.
That ties the whole idea together, obviously, way more.
So I think they might have been just kind of sowing the seeds where if this album done well and I had this key track that was like their lead single, their double A-side with Eleanor Rigby, and it was going to sell a fuck ton. And then in a couple of years' time, they've got a movie that comes out named after it, and the cover of it is a yellow submarine. Like it was just, it seems to me like it was just a smart bit of marketing more than them trying to flex kind of musical muscles, because the rest of the album is, Jesus Christ almighty, it's so good. And then you've just got this, and again, but Yellow Submarine's not a bad song. But it's just a children's song, and it makes no sense. I don't even know if the Beatles ever. Well, to be fair, Revolver was the last project before they retired from playing live, so I never got played live. But Ringo,
they probably looked at that and went, "Can't play half of this live."
Exactly.
Imagine that. Imagine like Love me do, I know. Now we're going to play Eleanor
Yeah,
Rigby.
yeah, exactly. Well, I think there was a big thing on Revolver where they were learning how to use tape loops. So there's a couple of songs that use these weird fucking tape loops that were like using proper technology. They had left they'd left Abbey Road and they were recording in the States. So they had fucking like really high tech machines for them to mess around with. And the Beatles were one of those bands where they'd go in and write in the studio as well. They'd have a few bits and bobs floating around, but they'd write in the studio. So they were able to use the technology in the studio to kind of start forging these new ideas. To start kind of forging all these kind of cool bits and pieces. So you have, I mean, my favorite song on there is Tomorrow Never Knows, which is the last song. It's fucking, I mean, the whole album's only just over half an hour long. Like it's insane, but Tomorrow Never Knows is just all tape loops and weird kind of Indian instruments and shit. So you've got all this kind of brand new high-tech cool songwriting shit that's mad sounding. Eleanor Rigby with the orchestra, and it's like, what the fuck's going on? And then you've got this fucking no, take a
skipper for me. And I'm not adverse to fun. I'm not a fogey. I'm not I get the Beatles had that side to them that made them a little bit like, I don't know, Salvador Dali-ish or something surreal. There's mad stuff going on. But at the end of the day, I know when I'm listening to that song, I'm not enjoying it, so I skip it.
Just get rid of it. Yeah, exactly. So like I said, that was Yellow Submarine, and that's 100% kind of taints the entire album for me. It should have been maybe a single only release or something like that, much like Paperback Writer, because Paperback Writer was written the same session as Revolver, but they kept it off the album. Banger. It's a banger, yeah. And that was just a single only release, the way loads of bands used to do it, just in between albums. Yeah. They just throw out a couple of singles to keep people happy, which you never really see anymore. Although it's kind of going back that way with Spotify releases, so who knows? Yeah, I think people are releasing singles and maybe getting around to an album where they can decide which of those singles is going onto the album. So yeah, it is a bit in a way. So yeah, everything's coming back around. Anyway, that was Yellow Submarine. Who's your next one? This is Sweet Sunshine by Beck from one of my favourite albums of all time. This would be a top 10 album for me. Top 10 album. So, well, all of these albums are obviously my favourite albums. Yeah. Well, we're not going to be talking about albums we don't like, are we? Yeah, otherwise, there'll be more than one Grammy song on it. Yeah. But this is a real... See, right. So Mellow Gold is like Beck's... It's 93, 94. His first... I'll say his first album, his major label debut. And this album is the one that has Loser on it, the single, Pay No Mind, and Beer Can, all those singles. Yeah. And another just load of absolutely insane folky grunge, alt-pop, hip-hop, psychedelic, amazing songs. Yeah, it's a mad album. And there's one real fucking ditch pig in there. And it's just absolutely... It feels like... It's called Sweet Sunshine. It honestly feels like an absolute rain cloud right in the middle of the album as well. But just a little background to the album. It's in an interview with Rolling Stones, he said that, I have the quote here actually, the whole concept of Mellow Gold is that it's a satanic K-Tel record that's been found in a trash dumpster. Quite matter-of-factly, a few people have molested it and slept with it and half swallowed it before spitting it out. Someone played poker with it. Someone tried to smoke it. Then the record was taken to Morocco and covered with hummus and tabbouleh. Then it was flown back to a conversation of water skiers who skied on it, played frisbee with it. Then the record was put on a turntable, and the original K-Tel album had reached a whole new level. It was taking the whole freedom rock feeling. Yeah, I don't know. He's off his nut talking about this. I don't know if he's a Mormon at this stage, but that's what it's just. I think a fancy way of saying the whole thing is a battered mishmash. Yeah, put through the ropes and put back in again, spun, respun, shrunk, stretched. It is fantastic. Yeah. But track 7, Sweet Sunshine, is an absolute momentum killer, and it's wedged between the absolutely hilarious song, creepy truck driving neighbours downstairs. And the right after Sweet Sunshine comes the big summer single Beer Can, which is weird summer single Beer Can, and this one in between, it's not unnerving. I can do unnerving like Fitter Happier, but I don't like an unpleasant song. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's just great, and then it goes on for 4 minutes and it's just really dull and grindy. Like, I guess
if I listen to it more and more over and over again, I might find something to hook in. Like the drum loop isn't bad, but there's nothing to look forward to. I don't mind a drivel song if there's some bit towards the end that hooks you in.
Yeah,
it's nothing, and it's actually really disappointing to listen to the whole lot of Mellow Gold and get to Sweet Sunshine. I've never liked it. As a kid, I thought maybe I knew it was going to be one of my favorite albums from the first time I got it. I bought it because of Loser. Yeah, everyone bought it because of Loser, and you're hoping that there's more songs like this.
Yeah, Loser, there are more Losers on there. Yeah.
I don't know if Loser is the best song on that because I love the album so much that Loser is just like the sabotage of that album of Beastie Boys. You've heard it so much that you don't know how much you like it anymore, but you know it's an amazing song. And also it doesn't, Loser fits in perfectly so well with the album. It doesn't sound like a single out of nowhere as well.
Yeah.
But this is just 4 minutes of not very good. It's 100% skipping Sweet Sunshine. I know a few people that are like, I don't mind it. I'm like, the fact that I don't mind this is a rough in the jam. This is the scratch on the record. So that's that. What is your next one?
My next one is Ice Cube with a song called Cash Over Ass. So yeah, you know where it's going. It's a 2-part album called War and Peace, and this is off the War disc, which is the first released one. So it's a double album essentially that was released. I think it took 2 years off. I think it was 2 years off to make it, maybe 1 year.
So to do like the next one?
Yeah, no, it was 2 years. So it was 1998. The War album came out, and in the year 2000, the Peace album came out. So the Peace album was not good. That had all that fucking you can do it, put your ass into a kind of club. All that kind of Puff Daddy club music had started at that stage, and Ice Cube was like, I'll have a bit of that. And so this was his 5th album, 1998. So you got 1990, you have America's Most Wanted. 1991, you have Death Certificate. 1992, you have The Predator. And then 1993, you have Lethal Injection. Now, around this time, he starts making Friday and Anaconda, Three Kings, Next Friday. So he's got this kind of 5-year gap. Yeah, exactly. He's got this 5-year gap in between Lethal Injection and the War album. Now, I fucking love the War album. I think it's the last great Ice Cube album. The last one he put out last year, but it was fine. There's some good stuff on it, but it's far from great. But I love the War album, and that's why this is more of a. This is definitely more of a fucking kind of a personal position now, more than something that any sort of music critic would ever back up, or any hip hop magazine. I'm sure, like The Source and all that, when this came out, they were like, "Meh, it's not America's Most Wanted, or it's not Death Certificate, or whatever." This was very different from the stuff he put out.
This is there's a certain amount. All of this is subjective, but even the albums we've chosen are subjective.
Oh yeah,
I know loads of people that will say that Beck album is nowhere near perfect. It's crap.
It's bad.
It's crap. There's only one crap song on that.
Exactly.
I know it. I'm calling that one song out.
Yeah. I fucking love this album. This came out. I nearly wore the fucking CD out. Last year, finally, I was able to source a copy of it on vinyl. So now I finally have it. And it has like one of those lenticular kind of covers on it, so you move and it looks like Ice Cube was moving. It's cool looking. It's just really well put together. The CD was well put together. The LP is well put together.
The parrot?
Probably the parrot screaming, yeah. Who knows what's going on with this house at the moment, man. There's all sorts of mad shit going on. So when this came out, I was mad for this. Like I said, his 5th album came out in Priority Records. He spent 5 years away, kind of becoming a pretty big movie star. And then all of a sudden he's, bang, here's releasing the double album, but I'm going to take 2 years to release it. Here's disc 1 of my double album called War and Peace. This is the War disc. And loads of cool stuff on the album. It's so many different, like, styles of rapping, and he'd kind of left behind like the pure gangbanger fucking shooting kind of shit. Like there's bits of that in there, but he's moving more towards like the whole concept of, what if I was a warlord in Los Angeles as opposed to just a gangbanger? You know what I mean? There's a cool kind of concept behind the whole thing, kind of almost like a post-apocalyptic feel to it. And like every song is like, fuck, that's really good, and they're real hooky, and the production is outrageously good. Like, holy shit. And you get to this song, it's called Cash Over Ass. I don't know much about this album. I don't think I've probably listened to it a few times over the years, but it's worth it. Ice Cube was never. I look Predator, obviously, but Predator's so good. Yeah, I need to try and find I have everything except for Predator that I want. But this comes out and it's just this fucking, standard like Cash Over Ass, like fucking, money is better than Mott's type of fucking, like, I've heard it, you know what I mean? I've heard it 1,000
Definitely
times.
not, though.
Like, depends on how much money. I'm not gonna lie.
How much money you have.
I definitely have a price, like you can have Mott's, or you can have like 20 bajillion euro. I'll take the 20 bajillion euro. Because you can only enjoy Mott's for so long. Like, depends on whether you have a partner or not. You know what I mean? You have a partner,
so long without Mott's.
You can enjoy it because you live forever. Like, you start getting that like fresh blood pumped into you and all that, blood boy bags.
What are you gonna do with that fresh blood? It's gonna go flaccid and not be.
You're gonna be old. You don't want to be fucking an old hard dick. You really don't. It's gonna get to a point where just like whatever. It's gonna be different. You have a partner, you have like a missus or a fella or whatever, and you're like, I love them, I want to stay with them forever. That's different.
That's different. You get to have that and the money.
Exactly. But like,
obviously, yeah.
Yeah, if you're on your own, like rolling single, you have to pick one or the other. Like, I'm picking the money every time, lad. Every time, like, do you know what? It might not even have to be that much money. Just enough to get.
The older you get, much like footballer, the older you get, the transfer price is going down.
Yeah, exactly. Is enough? Will I get a year out of it? I'll get a good year, good 6 months out of it. Yeah, all right, grand. Yeah. Then I just break my promise. And but yeah, this song's just it's not that it's shite. It doesn't fit with the whole kind of warlord kind of aesthetic that he's going for, and it's the production on it's real annoying. It has this kind of trying to do this kind of early 90s type of feel to it, and it just doesn't work. It feels like it was just thrown together in a couple of days. I think there's someone else on it as well. No, there's not.
There's very few perfect rap albums. There's so many songs on them.
Yeah.
And the gas thing about rap albums is they fill up the CD, but rap itself, there's so many lyrics. There's more lyrics in one rap song than there is on most
albums. Yeah, exactly. It's very difficult to find perfect hip hop albums. I think I have 2 of them on this playlist, or as close to perfect as it gets.
Obviously.
I think I have 2 of them on this playlist, and
because the skits can throw things off as well.
I fucking hate skits, man. I fucking hate them. If I rubbed a fucking lamp and a genie popped out and he said you got 3 wishes, and one of them is obviously loads of money, and I don't know what the other one is, whatever, fucking 12-inch dong. Like, this fucking the third one then is going to be, can we have all skits removed from hip hop albums, please?
Do you know what annoys me the most? The ones on the score by Fugees are because they're not even funny.
Yeah.
Terrible.
That Eminem ones bothered the shit out of me as well.
They're shite as well.
Yeah.
I don't mind the Wu-Tang. Let them away with it. I don't know.
Wu-Tang generally use them as like intros to songs, and I can kind of get around.
And they're short, though, aren't they?
Yeah. They're not too bad at all. It's the Eminem ones where it's...
Fuji, Snoop Dogg and Eminem.
Oh,
fucking a minute and a half. Like, lads, come on.
Get the fuck out of here. Like, literally half. There was a period there in like the kind of mid-2000s, early mid-2000s, where every album was half skits. And it was torture. You might have been getting like 5 songs on that album, and the rest of it was bulked out by skits. Anyway, listen, that's Ice Cube, Catch Over Ass. It's not a good song. It's just a skipper. It's a pure skipper. Like, the album has Korn on it. There's a song called Fuck Dying, and it has Korn, and it doesn't have Jonathan on it. It's great. Yeah, but he's not on it. It's great. It's just the band.
Oh, right, cool. Yeah.
And it's real evil. It's fucking some super stuff going on, like in terms of how to make a hip hop album. It's very different from anything else that was out around that time. Anyway, who's your next one?
The next one's going to get me in trouble with Who fans.
All right.
I think Who's Next is my favorite Who album. I think it's almost perfect. And even this song, I don't think it's too bad. But not only I think it comes in at the wrong time, I don't really like it that much in the context of the whole album. And ultimately, if I'm being perfectly honest, like I said, I don't hate it, but I don't think it's a very good song. And that song is The Song Is Over from, like I said, Who's Next, 1971. Yeah. It comes in at track 5. So you get this absolutely blistering first 4 songs with like Bob O'Reilly, Getting in Tune and stuff like that, My Wife and Bargain. Like, those songs are just... Sorry, not Getting in Tune. Getting in Tune is the song that comes after it, which sounds like if you just erase The Song Is Over, Getting in Tune should have been the next song. Because Getting in Tune, it just feels... Now, I will say this. The Song Is Over finishes with this... It's a long song. I think it's over 6 minutes long. It is because we have to think of things the way it was back then, side A and side B, why these songs were put in this order. It does finish with a big swirling synthy and harmony vocals, I think, at the end of it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I just don't like the song.
Yeah.
The lyrics are a lot weaker than the rest of the album. And I know that some of the lyrics on this are either tongue-in-cheek or just too cheesy.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, if you took this song out, it would be wobbly because it would be not enough on side A. So have a solution for all the people that are angry that I've just said the song is over. I know loads of Who fans think, and the critics absolutely love this song. Yeah. Some people consider this the best song on this album. That's fucking bollocks, man. It's absolute horseshit. So have a solution so I don't get hung too much. There was a song recorded in the same sessions that is on the re-release, the remastered called Naked Eye. So I want that replaced. I want that to replace The Song Is Over. Not maybe we'll have to rejig a few things because I know that would finish side A well. Naked Eye is a fucking deadly song.
Yeah.
Actually, you could even swap Naked Eye, put that as the opener, and put Getting in Tune back up there. Switch them around. If a lot of people will know what I'm talking about with this, they might not know Naked Eye. Give it a listen, and then also listen to The Song Is Over and realize it's too schmaltzy, it's too cheesy.
Yeah.
And that's my solution. So I will give it. That's my problem with it. But at least I've given a solution. It doesn't sit right. I don't want it there. I find what I do is I don't always skip it, but I will skip it halfway through it. Even though it actually gets better the more it goes into it. I've just been fucked off by the start of it so much. The song is over. It's too cheesy for me, man. And it's one of the most noticeable times you can hear Roger Daltrey singing in an American accent when he's clearly English. That's fine when you're doing that. The Rolling Stones never sounded English really. Well, they do sometimes, but you know what I mean. When they wanted to, they didn't.
Yeah.
Roger Daltrey, sometimes you can hear this kind of conflict coming out in his accent, and I find that in this song, and I don't like it. Did I mention that I didn't like it? I don't like it.
I did hear this.
I want it replaced with The Naked Eye, which is a much better song recorded in the same sessions and only released years after. It doesn't sit right. I want it gone. The song is over. My opinion's over. This song is over. What's your next one?
My next one is Insane in the Brain by Cypress Hill off Black Sunday.
Really?
Yep.
I suppose it's definitely not the best song on that album, so does that?
It's just... I don't know. I don't like it.
Is it because you've heard it too much?
I definitely have heard it too much, but I also just don't like it.
That's fair enough, but you reckon if it wasn't a single and it was just like down the end and no one talked about it, you'd like it?
I don't know. I think it still stand out. I think like... Oh,
right. It does sound weird on this album sometimes.
It doesn't work on this album. This album was fucking huge. So it's 1993, Black Sunday comes out. It comes out while their first album is still in the charts. So Cypress Hill become the first ever hip-hop group to have 2 albums in the top 10 at the same time.
This was one of the first songs I remember. I know, was it Throw Your Set in the Air out before this?
And so How We Could Just Kill a Man as well.
Yeah, so I had heard them, but I wasn't really a fan. And I remember hearing this song.
Yeah.
And in my head thinking, fuck, I get these now, but I didn't get them at all. It was wrong. Because they're way darker and slower than this. So I know what you mean by this song being...
Like this album went triple platinum, 3.5 million copies sold. It's a huge fucking album. This song, okay. There's a legend. Okay, there's a legend to go with this song. So DJ Muggs from Cypress Hill, he produced "Jump Around" for House of Pain in 1992. Right. So the legend is that they see how big Jump Around gets while they're in the studio recording Black Sunday. Right, and Muggs says, like, well, listen,
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, so he says, he turns around to the rest of the band and he goes, you know what, like, I could just do that again, like, and they're like, what do you mean? Says, well, I made Jump Around, like, and like, I know how I made it, and I know the samples I made, and all this kind of shit. So why don't they just do that again? And they said, yeah, go on, do it. So like, there's this weird kind of ambiguity about the samples that are used in both songs. Like if I was reading about it, there's like dissent in the camp. And the legend has it that loads of the samples that were used in Jump Around were used in Insane in the Brain, just kind of stretched out and retimed.
I was going to say, like, when you said that, I was like, is he going to use the same samples?
Yeah.
Or is he going to change it around a bit? Because some of them sound like they are them, but they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Reversed or pitched or something.
He like the exact same formula that he used to make Jump Around, he used to make Insane in the Brain. And it gets almost to be as big. Like,
it's like what they used to do in the 90s and the 90s. It never happened in the 80s. It didn't happen in the 2000s. Remember the 90s, someone would just release the same song again slightly differently. Like Scatman and Scatman's World.
Yeah.
And Scatman's Planet or something to be the next one. And it's like, it's the same song.
Same fucking song. Exactly.
Nickelback did it on a different album. But so I often wonder, like, producers go,
think about like the main thing and Jump Around, like, and the stuff like that in Insane in the Membrane. I always call it Insane in the Membrane, even though it's Insane in the Brain. Apparently, it was meant to be called Insane in the Membrane, but they wouldn't let it because it was gangster slang.
Insane in the Brain.
Yeah, but they use the same. Apparently, the legend has it that Mugs went off and used the exact same thing. So because of that, you end up with this big giant pop hit, and it's much the same. If you go and listen to like Fine Malt Lyrics or something, or any of the first two House of Pain albums, like that, there's nothing else like Jump Around on it. You've got like Danny Boy and where they try, but it doesn't work. You know.
Yeah, I remember getting this album because I never got the first album at the time. I'd heard bits on like. Jesus, I don't know, off the radio, maybe.
I mean, there was a couple of singles. You had Insane in the Brain, When the Shit Goes Down,
obviously.
I Ain't Going Out Like That, and Lick a Shot were all singles off it as well. Four singles. But like the rest of the album is so like gothic and dark.
That's what I mean, yes. It is. Insane it's called is not a representation of the grimness of the album.
Exactly. Now, I can't begrudge it because it made them like immensely famous. Like,
if you slowed it down, it might fit in. Actually,
I think there is a weird version there's a whole remix version of the album. I think there's two or three versions of that song. Now, if you bought the 12-inch singles, Jesus Christ, I think it was like 4 remixes on each side. So there's definitely slow ones out there as well. But it's just. This is one of the greatest hip-hop albums ever made. It's pretty much perfect. It's not quite tarnished by that track, but I think it would be better without it. I think that song just fucks up the flow.
You're actually getting songs that are singles as well. I actually only have one single, and I'm thinking, I tried to get more singles onto it. It's interesting because it is. A single can fuck up the flow of an album for many reasons. It might even fit in theme-wise, but because you've heard it so much,
well, overhearing can fuck you.
Closer by 9 Inch Nails is a weird moment when I listen to the album. I know that is possibly the best song on the album, but it's not to me anymore.
Sick of it, sick of it, I'm trying to not have that.
Slide Closer. I'll never Slide Closer. It's an absolute uber banger.
It's a killer. Yeah. I'm doing my absolute damnedest here not to like begrudge a song because I've heard it a million times.
It's hard.
But it can be difficult. I just think that Insane in the Brain, while it's a killer song, again, would have been better on as a single or so, I don't know. It just doesn't fit the album, and it's definitely a skipper for me. Definitely a skipper for me. And this album, like every other song on this album, is fucking perfect. This is a rare occurrence of like as close to perfect a hip hop album as you can get. You know,
I'll skip certain songs on albums if I like them, but they're just at the wrong time of the album. And I'm getting into a nice flow, and the single pops up, and you start seeing the video in your head.
Yeah, exactly. This is
that
big problem. That's a big problem for me. Anyway, that's Insane in the Brain by Cypress Hill from 1993. Who is your next one?
Yes. Oh, we're going back to less than a year ago. Do you believe that? It's Tool's last album, Fear Inoculum, is. I wouldn't say, like, I think without this song, Chocolate Chip Trip, I might think this album is perfect, but I also might be wrong. But I'll never know because I think taking this out makes the album infinitely better, and I think it's already an incredible album. I do actually think it's incredible. I talked about this before. People waited and cried over a 2 album coming out for ages, and I know loads of people that listen to half of it on their phone and turned it off.
Oh yeah,
fucking speakers of their phone.
Yeah,
an album that is arguably one of the best produced rock records of all time.
Yeah,
Joe Bracey did a fucking unreal job on it. drums, just you'll never hear drums like this.
It sounds great. I'm not a Tool fan, and when this came out, I listened to it twice in the same day while walking around town, and then I listened to it 3 or 4 more times in the weeks afterwards, and I really enjoyed it. And again, I'm not a massive Tool fan. I just allowed myself to not have those preconceived notions. I tried to cut the Tool fan out and just go like, "What's the music like? Fuck the rest of the music."
Flows better than a lot of Tool albums. Really, I enjoyed it. Like, it's hard to make a Tool album flow. I think maybe Aneem, it does sound very flowy. That does work well. The rest of them, like especially 10,000 Days, is scatty. It doesn't really fucking flow at all. But the problem with this is there's 3 instrumentals or interludes on Fear Inoculum, and 2 of them are 2 minutes long each. And there's loads of songs. There's loads of bits on my favorite albums. 2 minutes. If it finishes before 2 minutes, or therefore, it doesn't matter what they do in that 2 minutes. It hasn't thrown me off. Yeah. After 2 minutes, they can fucking throw me off, and it can put me off. And Chocolate Chip Trip is just a pointless 5-minute song, nearly 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's this. Danny Carey wrote it. There's a synth line that goes, and the drums over are great, but drums are not enough to save a song. And I love drums, but drums to me will always be part of a song that make it either incredible or they're just there.
Yeah.
They're not, they would never go. Now, I've often listened to Smash Pumpkins go, fuck that, Jimmy Chamberlain just made that song way better than it was. But it's still not the bit I would care too much about to make a song entirely about. Yeah. Whereas the rest of the stuff is irritating. The synths were crap. The little stuff in the background is garbage. It is. This is the third. It's the second of the 3. And the thing that really, really annoys me about it is in the digital format, you can skip easy these days. And I don't care what anyone says. People skip this Chocolate Chip song. There's no way people listen to performance of this. What annoys me is the CD only had... It's already a fucking bloated album. A little bit. Some of the parts of the songs are a little bit bloated, but I wouldn't take that away from it. The CD had a choice to had to cut something to put this CD out to fit onto one CD.
Yeah.
So instead of cutting Chocolate Chip Trip and putting the other 2 on, it cut the other 2 and put this on. And the other 2 aren't even offensive.
Yeah.
And they fit in nicely where they are. The last song is a bit crap, but it's the last one. You get away with Murder as the last song. There's certain songs that I want to put on this, like, I wouldn't put a hidden track on this thing that we're making here. It's no point. You let people away with that. But they put Chocolate Chip Trip on the CD.
Yeah.
And you're listening to it just going, but this is stupid. So there's versions where people have made, like, yourself to play this where you take out all of them. You don't need to take out all of them. You just need to take this out. And it's perfect. The album Fear Inoculum is perfect to take this out. Arguably, you won't listen to the Mockingbird, the very last song, if you don't want to. Yeah. But it's not really getting in the way of anything. This is... The song Chocolate Chip Trip sounds stupid. The song itself sounds stupid, and it's so very, 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 very unnecessary. It's named after, like, when Danny Carey would bake cookies and eat them all day while he's in the studio. It's a lot of prog albums have this typical fuck aboutery on them. Bit of it, like Yes and all will have, that's fine, you get to it. But it's such a fucking shame because the songs, a lot of songs on this album aren't as good as other Tool songs, so they have to be fucking careful. But they're not careful. They blow it out to an hour and 26 minutes.
Madness.
The album is. That's stupid.
Yeah.
That's a double album, really.
Yeah.
But if it's a double album, then you are really breaking it up into 2 sides properly, in which case we would really notice how fucking shit this song is.
Yeah,
standing on its own. No, do you know what? It's the kind of instrumental that annoying Tool fans will convince themselves is genius. Yeah. And then annoyingly try to convince other people that it's
of course.
Good. It's not going to fly with me.
That's the gimmick.
I'm a Tool fan since the first time I heard them. I don't like this song. I don't think people should make excuses for it. Get this off the CD version and get it off your fucking playlist version on Spotify. That's all I'm saying. That's it. I don't defend it. Chocolate Chip Trip, delete.
Can you imagine how many, like, when that finally comes out on vinyl, it's going to have to be like fucking 4 or 5 LPs, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
And the annoying thing is, this will be allowed on it. If
Oh,
the
yeah.
CD is anything to go by, I can't remember pronounce the first track. It's like 1 minute 56. It's fine. It's a nice little piece of music. The knocking beat is grand because at the end, I don't really care. But this is unavoidable. It's a big giant stepping stone. Nearly 5 minutes. If you think about that, right, Stinkfist and Schism are 5-6 minutes.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Fuck
this.
Do away, bro.
That's my fifth one anyway. What's your next one?
My last one. We're staying with hip hop here, and we're moving on to what I consider to be probably the best hip hop album ever made. I've been talking about this since we started the show, and it has one letdown moment, and it's the very, very last song on it, and it's Bible, Bible by Jizza off Liquid Swords. From 1995. It's just not.
I hate when the last song is crap.
It's just not good.
It's the best time for it to be crap.
Yes, by far.
But it's disappointing because me and you grew up listening to rock albums, and the rock album has to have a big closer.
Yeah.
So we're used to that.
This just doesn't. It's like this song is missing everything that makes Liquid Swords great. Like it's Jizza and Killer Priest, which is another Wu-Tang member. There's a couple of guests on this. Yeah, it's very hard to find a Wu-Tang kind of solo album that doesn't have at least one or two of the other lads on it as well. But like Killer Priest is alright, he's fine. But this song, it's like production wise, it's mad different from the rest. It doesn't. It's just missing that like kind of grimy, grim flavor that the rest of Liquid Swords has, and that like the first Wu-Tang album has. It sounds like because it was recorded in someone's basement, you know what I mean, that type of thing. It's like it's kind of relentlessly catchy, but like in the wrong way.
Catchy song, it's weird to have a catchy song at the last song on any album, hip hop or not.
Yeah, it just doesn't, like, the rest of the album is mad catchy, but this is like almost trying to do, I don't even know. It's not pop. It's like a failed experiment at like how to mix this kind of, this really dirty New York style and try and make like a pop song of it. And it just doesn't work. It sounds like it was just like we had this song left over and we tacked it on because there's space on the LP, you know? Like, like I said, it's the last song. It's just, the chorus is real annoying. The verses aren't great.
And it's probably stuck down the end for a reason. Here's the thing I was thinking, right? This is mad dilemma that I had. I have the track list pretty much worked out for my album now. And I wrote a song that is, to me, the album finisher, like how I want the album to sound at the end. And then I realized, fuck, man, this is, to me, one of the best songs on the album.
Yeah.
But it's down the end. What if people don't even get down that far?
This is
do you know what I mean?
It's a big problem. It's a big problem with digital music in particular.
So this is why I'm like, oh shit, man! If someone bought this record, they would listen to the second side and they would get to it and they'd realize why that song is at the end. Yeah. So what I had to do was I had to do what a lot of people do, and they close the first side with it.
Yeah.
So on CD, that doesn't mean shit all.
Yeah.
There's nothing in your head that makes you, through my youth, I completely forgot side A and side B. But
you have to understand as well, when we were like first properly buying music, well, not necessarily forced, but like in our formative years, it would have been CDs, which is like the only format that doesn't have sides. Like before that, we had tapes and LPs, and now we're back to LPs.
And it's really important to give that sort of break in the middle of an album. And
it definitely is.
It makes you sort of structure certain things, and also you can restart a feel halfway through. You can you can end it in a certain way and restart it. But on CD, so it's mad. Like for whatever reason,
very strange.
For whatever reason, fucking thing still works. Loads of albums still work because they are still written with that in mind.
Yeah,
and that's what I've tried to do with this. And I'm trying to. That's what it's mad. So I reckon he went right. Well, it's different for them. It's different for fucking.
I think he just had
know people are listening to the whole album. He knows. But at the same time, if you have an album or a song you're not 100% sure of, the last track's probably the best place to put it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just, it was there, it was finished. It was because he had Killer Priest on it as well, and it might have been a little snub to him if it didn't end up on the album. So we said, just throw it last. And you know, like you said, thank God it is last, but it's the only song on the album that doesn't work. everything else in the album, you're like, holy fuck, that's good. Holy shit, that's good. Oh my God, that's good. And it's like...
And do you reckon, what's the song before it? Does that finish the album?
I think the song before it, I can tell you now. Let me see. What's before it? Yeah, I Got Your Back, which is the one before it, which is like...
You finished with I often think like...
Yeah, you could absolutely finish with that. Like, I think the whole idea...
When you obviously do finish yourself with it, do you play the song through?
It depends on whether the phone is near me or have a Bluetooth it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like if I'm walking and it's on, absolutely. Like next album, I'm putting on something else.
So to you, that is the last song, the other last song. The other
pretty
one
much, yeah. So
it's mad. It's mad.
Bible it's not really religious. I mean, it's Bible, which stands for Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. Is what it stands for. Like,
yes,
it's even cool. big, long fucking name. But it's not super religious. It's kind of, I think it's kind of about like when religion does you no good at the end of your life. I think that's the idea behind it. You know what I mean? Like you might be able to take a bit of solace from it, but like at the end of the day, it was probably nonsense, and you shouldn't pay too much attention to it. So like behind this message behind it's not the end of the world. Like I'm like, I kind of get behind that a little bit.
Yeah,
but it's just it doesn't work. And like I said, I had to listen to it again for this playlist and this podcast. That's probably the last time I'm going to listen to it for the next couple of years.
Yeah, same with me and loads of these songs.
I'm done with them. Like
I went back over them to make sure I was not giving them a hard time. And no, they're all gone. They're all off skippers. Exactly. All these are skippers for me.
Exactly. So who's your last one?
Hi, Garrett. I'm back.
Shut up.
MJ's back again. He can't keep him down.
Can't get enough.
Jesus, just for the people that don't know, we did a little MJ skit that did actually quite alright on the internet. People liked it as well as I like it. They've done. It's good comedy. You normally, I think it's a kind of role reversal as well. You kind of played the straight guy.
Oh, straight. I can't even thinking about it now. I'm after turning on a little fan. You might hear it, but so what? I can't think back to it. I watched that about 4 times this week, and every time my face starts hurting me.
To me, it's still really funny.
I enjoyed the shit out of it. I enjoyed the shit out of it, but I can't. Like I was so twisted up laughing from the second it started that when I look at it, I don't even recognize myself. My face is so pained. I'm like, well, is that really what I look like? Is that like 100%?
No, there's a bit where you didn't. Your face made such a weird face thing that it didn't look like you. And that was when we were doing the Rorschach bits, the Rorschach test. In the middle of it, when I did it, my father was in the box. You just you look like your soul fell out your arse, and all was left was a crumpling.
I can't even. I don't even know how we're going to fucking top that or get close to it.
We can't. No, we can't. Anyway, my point is, Michael Jackson is picked. This is an interesting one. This is off the wall, which I consider his first album. It's not. It's his fifth album, but the other ones were those gammy solo albums that I don't listen to.
This is maybe first modern.
Bit of Ben. It's his first one with Quincy Jones, and his first one on Epic out of Motown.
Yeah.
Although Epic part of Motown, I don't know. I think it is actually.
It might be a subsidiary. I don't know.
I don't. No, Sony. I don't know. It doesn't matter anyway. It's with Epic, and it's who he stayed with. This album is almost flawless disco punk kind of trip down funky lane, bypassing disco. Shut up. Girlfriend is the song I picked, and it comes in the latter half of the album, right after the banger Off the Wall, the title track, and right before the ballad She's Out of My Life, which is cheesy, but it's still a good ballad. It's still a good ballad, and it's weird. She's Out of My Life could have came earlier. Do you know what? The problem is, this song, Girlfriend, is the song that bridges those two. They have to go from Off the Wall, which is a fast-paced disco kind of song, to She's Out of My Life, which is, Jesus, barely any drums in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it has to go from that. So I have to put Girlfriend in to bumper that, to slow it down. But it's a shite song.
Yeah, I was listening to it earlier. It's not good, not good at all.
And it sucks, and it was the last single. This is my only single that I've picked, and it's a single off this. And I don't know why it's a single, because fucking hell, there's so many other songs that could
probably trying to prove to people that he wasn't weird.
Yeah.
He does like girls, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, here's the thing: he didn't write that song. Paul McCartney wrote it for him. Then Paul McCartney released it with Wings. And if you listen to the Wings version, it sounds a little bit like a lot of Paul McCartney stuff could be tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit cheesy, and there's a whole middle eight section that Michael Jackson never did. But Michael Jackson then went on to record it. But here's the thing. They didn't tell Quincy Jones that it was already on a Wings album. He would have absolutely not happened.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So even if it was written by someone else, Paul McCartney could turn around and fucking whatever. Yeah. But it got released anyway. So if he had found out, we would have had that song taken off and the album would be perfect. But here's another thing. It's After All isn't Michael Jackson's best album. But it's the closest he came to a solid, straight through, no fucking around.
Yeah.
Because as much as I love Thriller, Bad, and definitely to a much lesser extent Dangerous. Dangerous is messy. Loads of songs they take off Dangerous. There's a couple of bits in Bad. No, Bad's almost perfect, okay? I'll forget that. But Thriller's got stuff on it I just don't really like that much.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even... I'm saying is that's a better album. It's got better songs, but it's a more of a... less chance of that being perfect. And when I mean perfect, I don't mean the perfect, amazing album. I mean perfect in its own context.
Yeah.
Like this Off the Wall album plays straight through perfectly down. Even She's Out of My Life, you accept it because you know eventually it has to slow down. But it slows down with this fucking Girlfriend song. And it's crap. And Girlfriend, even the do you know what? It has that annoying Paul McCartney melody that he can put in. That, you know, do you ever na 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 na? You know that melody is annoying for a fucking reason. And this sounds like that. Girlfriend, na 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 na. No, that's a bad melody. I know a bad melody when you repeat certain fucking Jesus Christ, just the certain things that are awful.
Yeah.
And bands do it sometimes where you're like, especially in a recent single, you're like, what made you put those notes together? They're awful.
Yeah, some things don't work. Yeah, you're right. I listened to the song earlier. It's not good.
This is a jagged edge. And the gas thing is, like, a lot of people might say She's Out of My Life it's like, no, that's a really well-written ballad. It's not my favourite song. Like I'm saying, let's say I still think this album is slightly better than Dangerous, and people are going to go fucking mad. Go, why don't we? People that still listen to us after we slag Michael Jackson. Although we stayed fairly. I think we didn't really take too much to piss out.
Well, we didn't dig in.
We didn't go for the obvious.
Yeah, we didn't go down that route.
Yeah, but I think that a lot of people would be surprised. Yeah, a lot of people would be surprised that I would put Bad over Thriller. A lot of people would be surprised that I put Off the Wall over Dangerous. So of the four killer albums, the four absolute killers in a row, Bad, Thriller, Off the Wall, Dangerous. Yeah, and I think a lot of people agree. So, in conclusion, this is one of the times where he could have had. It wouldn't have been, if this song was taken off, it wouldn't have been made it hugely better, but it would have played straight to the finish without any gamminess. But this is a big old stick jagged edge called Girlfriend.
Yeah, doesn't work.
That's it. That's my last.
Doesn't work. That's it.
That was our rough amongst them. The songs that stick out and we don't want them to like a jagged edge. Yeah, I guess. Speaking of jagged edges, someone fucking hit my car on my road now.
Did they? Someone smashed into their car?
Neighbour came out and went right into the bumper. And here's the fucking boxy thing. I'm going to have to give them the bill. And I thought, that's mad awkward for me.
Fuck them.
Yeah, I know. And they came over straight away and went, shit, real sorry about that. Just let's sort it out. And,
are they going to sort it out?
She's dead sound. Yeah, but I have to do, like, it's awkward. So I went to a guy today and he gave me the fucking price and I was like, there. But then I go to another couple, so it looked like I, tried to get the lowest price I can.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's insurance, man. Imagine insurance to do. Ooh.
No crack.
So anyway, that was a little story about jagged edges and the end of our...
I got a new stool or a new chair for sitting on, and it's much more comfortable and it's less noisy, and it actually has a back that works on it. But nice. I think I need to tighten the screw in the middle of it. It's a bit wonky. So I need to sort that. I'm going to sort that out now while this podcast is processing. But yeah, anyway, we are back.
Let us know before you do. I'm really interested to find out. I care most of the time what people think and their suggestions, but this is the one I'd be really interested in finding out because it's going to cause murder. It's going to cause. I can't wait for the murder on the thread when we put this up.
Yeah, I want to know what other people say. What tracks other people think. kind of ruin albums or fuck up albums. I mean, it don't have to be your most favorite album of all time. And just one song of shit, like that'd be nice to know as well. Like, but is there one album you think is just, you know what, it'd be much better without this or whatever? Tell us. Get onto the Facebook and tell us. Speaking of Facebook, we're on facebook.com/Lost Art Podcast. If you like what we do, you can support us with a subscription to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/Lost Art Podcast.
That really helps. We really appreciate that.
Really helps.
Honestly, it doesn't go unseen. It really.
All of our links. Exactly. All of our links are up on lostartpodcast.com. Cost money to do this. It's paying the bollocks. Money wise, especially in the middle of a pandemic where everybody's living off the social welfare. It's a fucking nightmare. We were supposed to open, go back to work on Monday, and it's being pushed back again. So I think it's our fourth pushback now. We were ready to go. So it looks like we're staying on the dole for another while. And it's really hard to do this and pay your fucking normal house rent and bills.
They're cutting us. It's actually started, isn't it?
They said it started. It didn't start for me. I don't know. I do you know what? It's so hard to find information about what's happening in our lives right now because.
Do you reckon they were clever enough to remember all the people that work in bar trade and can't go back to work so that they wouldn't cut us down?
I doubt it.
Did they fuck?
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, I just don't. I don't know what's going on. Even when they gave their talk the other day about, we were due to find out what we were going to open on Monday or not because we were told whatever like a month and a half ago. Well, it's the 21st of fucking of September. You just go back to work. So everybody in the bar trade was like, right, here we go. Right, let's get it done. So we've been breaking our bollocks for the last couple of weeks, getting the place together. And then we find out. Actually, I watched the press conference and I couldn't make head or tail of it. And I went into RTE.ie and I couldn't make head or tail of it. I had to wait until I saw an article on like the Angry Bartender or one of those random pages to actually find out the details. And then even stuff like they announced some new grants. Trying to find the grants to keep businesses alive. They have them all buried on different websites. It's impossible to find it. It's not like there's like.
And they're trying to slow people down. So the fastest, like, you know what I mean, like stagger the people who can get there first.
Oh yeah,
basically like doing an Easter egg hunt. Whoever can find the right answer will come.
Yeah,
to us first. If we put it out there, our servers will be jammed. Maybe,
I just don't understand why there's not like a whatever Ireland.ie/grants or whatever, fucking government.ie or whatever website they want to use, revenue.ie/grants.
They have to do it, but they don't want to make it easy.
Yeah, but what the mad annoying thing is, they've already said we've put aside 600 million for grant. Like the money's there, then grant. You know what I mean? Super.
Yeah.
Like if the money's there, you have to have the people to process these things. So
the world is bollocks, man, isn't it? Like financially, we're fucked.
Yeah, I don't. Whatever. I can't even think of it.
Think about it.
Go day by day and just hope for the fucking best. Speaking of hoping for the best, we're back doing. This is going out on Monday, so this weekend coming, we're going to have Lost Art TV for you again. So that's up on the Mixcloud website. All the links again are up on our Facebook page or our normal fucking lostart.com, lostartpodcast.com, should I say? Sorry. We're back doing TV this weekend, this Saturday. Saturday gone was our radio show, so it looks like we're doing one on, one off. So we'll do TV, radio until this is whatever, until both of us are back and work, and then we'll figure out something else. Listen, you gang at home survive long enough with just podcasts. You'll survive.
Thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. It's actually, it has boosted up. You have been going out of your way to share it more. We appreciate it.
Makes a big difference. Anyway, that's it for this week for us. We're back again on Monday with a fresh podcast. We'll talk to you then. Good night.
See you. Good night.